Welcome to Blood Sugar Squad, your go-to channel for simple, actionable tips to manage diabetes and live your best life. Type 1 and Type 2 diabetes are not the same disease. They have different causes, different treatments, and different management strategies. But a surprising number of people, and even some healthcare providers, struggle to clearly explain the difference. Today, we are going to clear up the confusion once and for all. By the end of this video, you will understand what makes Type 1 and Type 2 diabetes fundamentally different, why people mix them up, and why the distinction is important. Segment 1. What both types have in common. In both Type 1 and Type 2 diabetes, blood sugar levels become too high. That is the common thread. But to understand why, we first need to understand insulin. After you eat, carbohydrates are broken down into glucose, which enters your bloodstream. Insulin unlocks your cells so that glucose can move from the bloodstream into the cells where it can be used for energy. When insulin is missing, or when the body cannot use insulin properly, glucose builds up in the blood instead of getting where it needs to go. That is why both Type 1 and Type 2 diabetes involve high blood sugar. But the reason blood sugar rises is completely different. In Type 1 diabetes, the body stops making insulin almost entirely. In Type 2 diabetes, the body still makes insulin, sometimes even a lot of it at first, but the cells stop responding to it properly. Same result, completely different problem, and that difference changes everything about treatment. Segment 2. Meet Sarah, Type 1 diabetes. Sarah was diagnosed with Type 1 diabetes when she was 22. Before her diagnosis, she was thirsty constantly. She was running to the bathroom all the time. She was exhausted, and despite eating normally, she was losing weight rapidly. Sarah's immune system, the system that normally protects her from viruses and infections, mistakenly attacked the insulin-producing cells in her pancreas. This is called an autoimmune disease. Over time, those insulin-producing cells were destroyed, and once they are gone, the body can no longer make enough insulin to survive without treatment. Without insulin, glucose cannot enter the cells properly. It stays trapped in the bloodstream instead. Type 1 diabetes accounts for about 5 to 10% of diabetes cases overall. It is most commonly diagnosed in children, teenagers, and young adults, but it can happen at any age. And despite what many people believe, Type 1 diabetes is not caused by eating too much sugar. Because Sarah's body produces little to no insulin, she needs insulin every single day to stay alive. Not as an option, not as a backup plan, as a necessity. She may use insulin injections, an insulin pump, or both. Many people with Type 1 also use a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, to track blood sugar in real time. Type 1 diabetes often develops quickly. Symptoms can appear over weeks or even days. And without treatment, blood sugar can rise dangerously high, leading to a serious condition called diabetic ketoacidosis, or DKA. The good news is that modern diabetes technology has improved dramatically. With the right tools and education, people with Type 1 diabetes can live long, healthy, active lives. Segment 3. Meet James, Type 2 diabetes. James was diagnosed with Type 2 diabetes at age 52 during a routine physical exam. His doctor noticed that his blood sugar had been creeping upward for years. Unlike Sarah, James did not have dramatic symptoms. In fact, he barely noticed anything at all. That is common with Type 2 diabetes. His body still produces insulin. In fact, early in Type 2 diabetes, the body may produce extra insulin to compensate, but his cells have become resistant to insulin's effects. Doctors call this insulin resistance. At first, the pancreas tries to keep up by making more insulin, but over time, it cannot maintain that pace forever. Eventually, insulin production may begin to fall as well. Type 2 diabetes accounts for roughly 90 to 95% of diabetes cases. It is more common in adults over 45, but it is increasingly being diagnosed in younger adults, teenagers, and even children. Unlike Type 1 diabetes, Type 2 often develops slowly over many years. Symptoms can be subtle: fatigue, blurry vision, increased thirst, slow healing, or sometimes no symptoms at all. That is one reason so many people live with Type 2 diabetes for years before diagnosis. Also, Type 2 diabetes has a strong genetic component. Family history matters, but lifestyle factors like diet, physical activity, sleep, stress, and body weight also play important roles. Treatment is different too. Many people with Type 2 diabetes start with lifestyle changes and medications like metformin before ever needing insulin. Some eventually require insulin, others never do, And that difference, insulin required for survival versus insulin sometimes needed later, is one of the biggest distinctions between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Segment 4. When diabetes does not fit the stereotype. People still think type 1 diabetes is only diagnosed in children, and type 2 diabetes only happens in older adults. But real life is not that simple. Adults can absolutely develop type 1 diabetes, and younger people are increasingly developing type 2 diabetes. People also assume body type tells the whole story. They think everyone with type 1 is thin, and everyone with type 2 is overweight. But some people with type 2 are thin, some people with type 1 are overweight, and many people fall somewhere in between. That confusion can lead to real misdiagnoses, and one of the biggest examples is something called LADA. LADA stands for Latent Autoimmune Diabetes in adults. It is essentially a slower developing form of type 1 diabetes that appears in adulthood. People with LADA have autoimmune destruction of insulin-producing cells, just like Sarah. But instead of progressing rapidly over weeks or months, the process can unfold slowly over several years. That is why LADA is often mistaken for type 2 diabetes. A doctor sees an adult with elevated blood sugar who may not need insulin immediately and assumes type 2 diabetes. But underneath the surface, the immune system is still attacking the pancreas. Over time, insulin production continues to fall. This matters because treatment strategies can differ significantly. Someone with LADA may initially respond to oral medications, but eventually, insulin becomes necessary as the pancreas loses more function. If someone diagnosed with type 2 diabetes is losing weight unexpectedly, struggling to control blood sugar despite medications, or progressing unusually quickly, it may be worth asking about antibody testing. LADA is real. It is underdiagnosed, and many people live with it for years before getting the correct diagnosis. Segment 5. Why the right diagnosis matters. Because the wrong diagnosis can lead to the wrong treatment. If someone with type 1 diabetes is treated as though they have type 2 diabetes, oral medications alone may not control blood sugar adequately. Without enough insulin, blood sugar can rise dangerously high and lead to diabetic ketoacidosis, which is a medical emergency. On the other hand, not everyone with type 2 diabetes needs insulin immediately. Many people respond well to lifestyle changes, oral medications, or newer drugs like GLP-1 medications. The type of diabetes also affects how you monitor your blood sugar, what medications are appropriate, how often you may need medical follow-up, and what complications doctors are watching for. Even emotionally, the diagnosis matters. People with type 1 diabetes often carry the stress of constant insulin management and the risk of dangerous lows. People with type 2 diabetes often deal with guilt, shame, or the misconception that they somehow caused their disease entirely through poor choices. Diabetes management is complicated, and understanding your specific type is one of the most important steps toward managing it effectively. If you are unsure which type you have, especially if your diagnosis never fully made sense to you, it is worth asking questions. Talk to your doctor and ask whether your treatment plan still fits your situation today. Tracking your blood sugar is one of the most powerful things you can do to understand your diabetes. That is why we created the Blood Sugar Squad Diabetes Logbook. 2 years of daily logs, medication pages, personalization pages, and weekly affirmations to keep your mindset strong. It is not just a log, it is your diabetes companion. Just use the QR code on screen or the link in the description. Final thoughts. Type 1 and type 2 diabetes may share high blood sugar in common, but they are fundamentally different diseases. Type 1 diabetes is autoimmune. The body attacks the insulin-producing cells of the pancreas. Insulin becomes essential for survival. Type 2 diabetes is primarily driven by insulin resistance. The body still makes insulin, especially early on, but it cannot use it effectively. And then there is LADA, a slower-moving form of autoimmune diabetes in adults that is often mistaken for type 2. Knowing which type you have is not just medical trivia. It shapes your treatment, your monitoring, your risks, and your long-term management strategy. And most importantly, understanding diabetes helps remove confusion and stigma. Now we want to hear from you. Comment below and please share this video with someone who needs it. Until next time, stay strong, stay sweet, but not too sweet, and keep thriving with the Blood Sugar Squad.